I am gaming. I am gaming. I am gaming podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Ivica. Thank you so much for being on the latest episode of I'm Gaming Podcast. This is a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, gaming nostalgia, and many more cool things I find to be in the same realm of business and creative ventures. Like always, a huge thanks goes to my Patreon supporters who really make this podcast possible. Without you, it would be hard or even impossible to continue to create new episodes every single Sunday, once per week, for nearly 3 years now, and I'm again really thankful for your donations. Please, everyone else, check out all of my Patreon supporters in the description below. Links will take you to their YouTube channels, Twitch streams, and a bunch of other cool things that you can check out, from NFT projects to games and many more, again, really amazing ventures. If you'd like to become my Patreon supporter, please consider doing that using the link in the description below. There is also a bunch of other ways how you can support me, but these are the main ones. Basically Patreon, or buy my books on Amazon, that's an option as well. So this episode is all about a really cool new Netflix TV show that's called Sandman. It's based on the Neil Gaiman's really amazing, in my view, the second best graphic novel I ever read, that's also called Sandman. Of course, first is Watchmen. You can go over Watchmen, which is brilliant. Sandman is amazing as well, second best actually in my view. And now Netflix created a TV show based on the same visual novel, or comic book as we used to call them, but now it's visual novels if they're more serious. And you can get more serious than Sandman, even though there are many other different visual novels that have a really important and relevant topics. This Sandman has such a density and complexity and an overarching narrative span that it's really hard to put many other things into comparison. Now it's a TV show and it's really good. I'm presently on episode 3. I'm certainly going to watch episode 3 soon, and I love a lot of stuff, but I'm going to talk about the things, or more precisely one thing, that is really worrying me in the time to come. And when it comes to new episodes, that thing is humor, and the way the show is handling humor and presenting it in the combination of everything else that is present in the TV show. In my view, episode 2 does a really terrible job with that, especially through the introduction of the two characters of Cain and Abel and their pet gargoyle, which gives that notion, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it gives that notion of really trying to kind of catch that pre-teen type of humor and combine it with some more macabre and violent elements. Now I know that the Sandman novel, graphic novel, has the same thing, but in this case there is a huge disjointment, a huge narrative gap between the super serious, super ethereal topics that were handled in episode 1 and episode 2 up until that point, and then a huge breakdown both visually and narratively in all of that, with a presentation of a kind of a picturesque village scenery with the gargoyle and the two brothers, their interactions, and the concepts of Bible violence between Cain and Abel, which is all mixed in there, but in a way that is, in my view, making the whole TV show look like really written by two different teams. One team is handling the serious stuff, the other team is handling those kinds of comic relief moments. I hope that's not the case, because I'm continuing to watch in the coming weeks, but right now that sequence really does come with a comic relief moment, especially the way it ends and kind of enters into a more, let's say, optimistic realm. It's a huge potential even deal breaker for me, because if that type of humor continues, I'm thinking that I'm going to drop the TV show, whether I want it or not, just spontaneously, sooner, more likely sooner than later, because it's a thing that I connect and I associate with that emergent, let's make it for everyone approach that TV shows, especially on Netflix, have, which has a huge audience and wants to kind of boil everything down so it's palatable to basically everyone, and thus it's great for no one. That's a big worry for me. For example, HBO, which has a different kind of a demographic and everything, doesn't have that issue. I can watch TV shows from HBO and don't dislike them, but there is no impulse to kind of turn everything into a mush for kids, grown-ups, teens, young adults, older people. And right now, Sandman is kind of sounding that, better said, feeling that it's going to pursue that direction. That would be a really terrible thing, in my view, because it's not meant to be for everyone and it's not meant to be funny in no shape or form. It does have a sense of humor by it. It has a sense of humor that is really specific to the novel and Neil Gaiman in general, which isn't always my cup of tea, but it works for Sandman. Here, it looks like writers are trying to adapt it for general audience, general TV show approach, and that's going to fail miserably, and it's going to be a really huge disjointing moment for the entire show if it continues. So I'm hopeful it's not going to continue, but the second episode is working with it in a really weird manner, and maybe that's just the show getting its sea legs. Maybe it's going to get hammered out, ironed out later on. But if it's not, it's going to sink the entire Sandman TV show, at least in my view. Of course, I would love to hear what you think if you started watching it. Do you feel that the humor is making an issue for you, or it's not? Is it a bigger problem or less of a problem, or not a problem at all later on? I would love to hear your thoughts about all of this. So please leave a comment in the description or below the description box, and I would love to talk to you a bit about Sandman. But yeah, that's basically it, my hesitation about the TV show and my question for you. Do you have kind of a similar issue or not? I would love, again, to hear all about it. But in any case, that's the end of episode 142. Thank you so much for being here and listening. If you did manage to stick till the very end, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Consider subscribing, leaving a like, of course, leaving a comment, checking out all of my Patreon supporters, and my books on Amazon. Any of that would be more than awesome. All of that would be completely amazing. So I hope I see you on episode 143 in precisely 7 days from now. Until then, you have a great week, and I'll talk to you in exactly 7 days from now. My name is Ivica. Thank you for being here, and bye bye.